We know a new world is needed. We see it, we feel it, we live it, often with fear. That new world begins with us. I'm Mitra Manesh. This is The Attentionist, where we build a path from fear to choice, and you are welcome to join us.
Your attention is a sacred force, and that how and where you place it is an act of creation.
Strong statement.
Yes, strong statement. On the first episode, we introduced the origin story. We gave our listeners the language, the story, the characters. And if you haven't listened to that one, please go back and listen to it. Today, we're going to introduce The Attentionist, the book itself. How is this book shaping this sacred force?
Well, what I'm trying to bring the attention of people to by The Attentionist is that because we live in a world that feels and only focuses on production and success and outwardly think, it's almost like we have forgotten that attention is a force and a tool for transformation. So it's not just for better focus or higher productivity, which is basically, that's why attention became so dear and near to the world of business, because it allowed, by the training or what they called attention management, it allowed them to achieve higher productivity and better functioning employees. But I would like to, through this book, take the value of attention to the next level, which is really what it is. It's a tool for transformation. We're always creating. We're creators. We cannot not create. The question is, what are we creating? And what determines what we're creating is where our attention is placed. That's why attention becomes so crucial to the kind of life we're leading and living.
So we can make ourselves this question then, where are we paying our attention to? Because that might be not the place where we want our life to go or grow or be directed to.
Yes. So where is your attention? The big question is, do you know where your child is right now? I always ask, do you know where your attention is right now? Because if you don't, there's a good chance that your attention is somewhere that is not serving you. Why I say that? How do I know that? I don't know every person that is listening to us. I do know that we live in a world of survivalism. That I know. Meaning the collective and the majority of our attention goes to fear-based stories, what's wrong stories, story of separation. Hence, there's a good chance that if I'm not really intentionally guiding my attention is on one of these fear-based places. I don't know which one, depends on your life, but it's somewhere the intermingling with fear.
Mitra, why call it The Attentionist? Mm-hmm. Because that's an invented word.
Yes, it is an invented word, made up word, but aren't all words made up?
Yeah, at one point.
But your question wasn't that. Your question is, why did I choose this particular word?
Yeah.
Because what I witnessed by working with people from all aspects of life, I sort of call it from courtroom to boardrooms to bedrooms to classrooms, and I mean it. I have worked with people from different aspects of life. And when I saw a pattern of fear-based living. And no matter what people had, no matter what people knew, I mean, like very, very educated people who have done a lot of research around especially philosophy, spirituality, inner work, I still experienced them as living in fear and with fear. And that's why I thought, and I asked myself, what would be the opposite of that? If the survivalism is the norm of life, then what is the antidote to that? I'm a solution finder. When I see a problem, I always ask myself, what is the solution? I got the problem. What is the solution? And the solution came to me that it's a state of choice, because in survival, I really don't have a choice. I do have a choice, but it's within a very limited place of fear. It's like my famous story. You probably have heard this. It's like taking my daughter, as a 3-4-year-old shopping and telling her there were 5 pair of shoes on sale, saying, which one of these do you want? So it sounded like I have given her choice, but what I was giving her was within a very limited area. I was giving her choice. And of course she was smarter than me. And she said, no, 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 mommy. And she goes, and from the back of me, there's a lot of shoes. And she says, not these ones. Mommy, I want that one. And then she goes to the back and picks up something else that she wants. It's exactly that. In survival, we do have a choice, but the choice are limited between this fear and that fear. Do I fight with you or do I fight with my sister? Do I go against you or do I go against my colleague? So choices are limited, whereas there was a state that I saw that sometimes I would go and sometimes I would see people go, which I called it attentionism. That state is the state of choice, and well-being is of importance to the person. So it could have been called anything else, but because attention is the tool for that transformation between fear and no choice and choice and well-being, I called it attentionism, because attention was the tool. Attention was the key. So I made up the word that there is a state called attentionism, and a person that exercises their choice and put well-being in their awareness. That person is an attentionist. Long answer to a short question.
So actually, basically, what we can say is that attention is the antidote to fear.
Yes. Exactly.
Awareness in our attention, because as you said, attention is very wide. It can be a limited attention. But when we bring awareness to our attention,
yes,
it's an antidote for fear. Would you have an example where you realize in your life that you were actually activating the antidote for our listeners?
An experience that I had go from fear?
Yes.
Yes. So, I remember once, it was a long time ago, I was living in Toronto, Canada, and I had a late meeting, and it was winter and it was snowing, and I came out and my children were waiting at home. I had a babysitter for them, but I had to go home. And I come out and my car is in there. Oh. And I call around. The whole city is covered in snow. I can't even see. So I go one by one, uncover every car with my hand to find out, if my car is there. And I go through every car and my car isn't there. My car had been towed. I was tired. I was cold. I was hungry. I was worried. It was really a difficult night. I actually can feel it as I talk about it. Mm. And I thought, okay, so obviously my car was towed and wasn't there. And obviously I had to get home. And I thought, okay, I have to do something. So I called a cab and they said it will take half an hour or 45 minutes for us to get there. It's a, busy night and it's snowing. I said, okay. And imagine I'm just in the middle of, night, and I'm there cold, freezing. Standing there, freezing, hungry, tired, worried. So, and there's no cell phones. This is way before cell phones. Anyways, long story short, I saw that there was a restaurant. I went and sat in that restaurant. I ordered some food. I told them that I only have half an hour. And somehow I decided that this is going to be a night that I can talk about to my kids and laugh about and not worry. So that moment of choosing, it was not a good experience, but I wanted to pay my attention to something beyond that. This was just one scene of my whole life, and it wasn't that important. That's what I told myself. And I went to the restaurant. I ordered food. I chose to not be in a state of fear. So I started thinking straight. I asked them if I can use their phone, called home, let my babysitter know that I'm going to be late. I'm stuck. And kids say, yeah, they're fine. They were just playing in the background. And suddenly this night of horror for me turned into a night of connection. The people in the restaurant started connecting with me. They brought me extra food. They brought me right away, the warm food. And it was really interesting. Before I knew it, instead of outside, I mean, I literally started crying. I thought, like, this can't be. What do I do this late at night? And I'm laughing, I'm eating, they're joking, they're taking care of me, we're connecting. I'm not worried about my kids anymore. And it's really interesting how the whole scenario turned into a wonderful one, but there had to be 1 minute, 1 second, one moment of me standing there and saying, I'm not going to let this be a night of horror that it felt like and seemed like it would be. So very small story. It's not a life-changing story, but then these are the practices that we have. When I do it with this, then I can do it with something much, much bigger in life. So that's my story.
It's funny. It just brought one story to my awareness that actually same but different. I just found out that a relation that I had was not going well. I was in Barcelona and I had to fly to Paris. So I decided to fly to Paris to talk to my partner and see where we're going to take it. And it didn't look like we're going to take it into the future. It was more of a closing chapter. And actually, I remember booking the ticket to Paris. And at that time, I was working in fashion and I had friends in Paris and it was a fashion week. And I thought, I'm not going to make this weekend in Paris a depressing, finishing relation breakout story. I'm going to make it a great weekend with friends and parties and going around and actually finish the chapter with this 2.5 year relation. It was not like a 2 months relation. It was a long one. And that's what happened because actually I was like, I'm paying for this ticket, going only for 3 days. What is the memory that I want to have when I look back to this experience? That I just paid a ticket to break up with this person or that I actually spent a very funny and joyful weekend where actually this relation just finished and that's life. And it worked. I arrived to Paris. I had this very difficult conversation, cried, went through all the hard feelings. But once I had the conversation, I called a friend. He actually had a chicken in the oven, received me in his house. I couldn't eat because I was so sad that my stomach closed. But I enjoyed his company and we spent a wonderful weekend going around to parties and catwalks, seeing other friends. And after that many years, when I think about this weekend, it puts a smile in my face. I realized that was a very attentionist decision that I made back then.
Exactly. So both of us, yours personal story, mine more practical story, we could have gone deep into the fear land. And that's the interesting aspect of practicing and being an attentionist. An attentionist is a person that sees the facts. It's not about putting a happy face on them. That we see the fact, you saw the fact, I saw the fact. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be challenging. And then you look at your options beyond what just the fearful mind tells you. So in your case, the fearful mind was saying, oh my God, it's going to be a horrible weekend. You're going from Spain to France and to break up a relationship. It's going to be hell. Mine was like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be hungry. And my children are going to be worried. But when you start asking, and it's really interesting, mind loves to be at the service of you and find answer to the questions you pose to it. So it's not that, I mean, you've heard me say that many times. It's not that then we don't have the right answers. It's just most of the time we're asking the wrong question. So the right question is, how can I look at options beyond what my mind, like really frightened mind, tells me? And then from there, what is the best option I can have? So the best option for me was to just go to this restaurant and have some food, or at least be warm inside. The best option for you was to see other friends and make the best of what you could make, being in Paris and having had gone through a difficult moment with your friends and breakup. So yeah, it's just a matter of deciding and turning around your questions and where you pay your precious attention.
Mitra, and how you would define attention in your language? Because attention is not concentration, attention is not mindfulness, attention is not thinking. What would be attention for an attentionist?
Good question. What would be attention to an attentionist? Attention to an attentionist is a force, is an energy that determines the level of consciousness and hence determines the kind of life they lead and they live. That's what attention is. It's an indicator of our level of consciousness. And it's not an eternal level of consciousness in that moment. Like right now, my consciousness may be at a different level, or if I'm tired, if I'm hungry, if I'm late, the consciousness varies. It's not a set thing. It's not like, where are you at in life in general? It's like, in this moment, where is my attention at and where is my consciousness at? So that's how I would define it, that it's a force and an energy that indicates and shows the level of consciousness with which I am leading my life in this moment.
I'm thinking about everybody who is listening right now, and I would love to tell them that if this, what we're speaking, resonates, The Attentionist, the book that you wrote, Mitra, is a very practical guide. It's not a practice that is difficult. It's not a practice that is impossible to achieve. It's not something that you have or not have. Actually, it's a very simple, free tool that everyone can practice.
Well, that was the purpose of the book. You know, I'm a teacher, and I believe that the best way to teach is through stories. Because if I came and told you what to do, you may react to it or not be ready for it. But if you're reading a story on your own and you think, oh, that's interesting. Sometimes I do that. Oh, I relate to that. I know a person, a friend that is like that. So it allows you, without being it right in your face, without being it directional, to be really of help and allow you in a soft way to see your own patterns and then awaken hopefully your choice consciousness and decide whether this is how you would like to lead your life or not. The fact is, most people think they don't have a choice, and that is not true. We may not have a choice to change what is, but we always have a choice to change how we relate to what is, and that changes everything.
Mm-hmm. And now you mentioned something that I want to remark for our listeners, that actually The Attentionist is not a guide or a textbook. It's a story. It's a beautiful story with a lot of wisdom. To everybody who is listening, I want you to know that, like Mitra just said, it's a gentle invitation and a very beautiful story to read that sinks in a way that it's very deep. And I would even dare to say that it starts showing up in your life, surprisingly, without you being conscious about it. And it reminds me a sentence that you say often, Mitra, that once you know, You cannot know, or you can stop knowing.
You cannot not know.
Exactly. You cannot not know. And actually, that's the effect of the Attentionist, that once you read it, here it is. You have the awareness. You cannot see the world in the same way and the way that you pay attention to it.
Yes. Well, the subtitle is The Attentionist: New Choices for New World. And I believe truly the world is changing, and I don't mean it in a normal way. Of course it's changing. It's always changing, but it's changing at a different speed and to a different level of consciousness. So we all are experiencing this. And the question is, are we ready to truly make new choices so that we can create that new world that we are all interested in? Because we always believe like that world will happen, and the world is the world that you and I are making. The choices that you and I are really making every day is part of the new world that we speak about. And the more conscious I am, the more kind I am to myself, the more I will be contributing towards the world that I want to live in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the big question is actually for everybody who is listening, no? What are you paying attention to in your own life right now?
Yes.
And maybe, Mitra, you can give our listeners a little practice so that they can go on and pay attention to their attention as an attentionism.
So to pay attention to your attention, actually, I suggest that 3 times a day. I would say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because when you attach your practice to something that you already do, it becomes much easier. Just before you eat your breakfast or just after you've finished your practice, my invitation is to stop and ask yourself, where am I placing my attention in this moment? And the idea is to notice if it's on the fear-based kind of topic, or is it on creativity, connection, joy? And it's a simple question. You don't even need to change anything at this point. At this point, it's just ascertaining and seeing where your attention is, because the first step to every change is to know where you're standing. Yeah? So if I say, I want to go to another city, the question is from where? So you need to always find out where are you at. And again, this is very gentle question. This is not to judge yourself. This is not to see how well you're doing. It's really about just gently inquiring and being curious about where you're really standing in life. And if and when you're ready, how can you change that? Which is the teachings that will come gradually through this podcast. But right now, it's just that question: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stop and ask yourself, where is my attention? And what is important about that observation is to see the pattern. So if you record it and look at it at the end of the week, you will see where your attention is most of the time, which is extremely important information for the purpose of transformation.
So please notice where your attention is and send us any questions or stories that you have. We share ours, but this is an open conversation. So actually, we would love to hear yours.
And also, if you're interested and you've read the book and you have any insights, any questions, any part that did or didn't work for you, we would love to have you on our podcast. Write to us at book@mitramanesh.com with the subject line of want to be on your podcast. And we would love to contact you, and perhaps you can come with your questions and insights and take this book further.
Thank you, Mitra.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
The new world doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives one episode at a time. Pick one word, one new way of being from this episode, and put it into action. And that's how the new world gets built. Until next time, pay attention to your precious attention.